Okay, the indictment's garbage. You're a DeSantis backer in the primary. What say you about all this stuff?
Well, first of all, good to be on, Jesse. Yeah, I am a DeSantis backer. He's a good man. I've known him for a long time. He's done a hell of a job in Florida. He's actually leading. People are moving there. He won by 1.5 million votes. He won 62% of Hispanic voters. He won 50% of single female voters. He's created a strong economy, gone after Disney. What more do I need to say? Flip side is the president, the former president, President Trump, is the target of a radical left ensconced at the Department of Justice. We see it. Anybody with eyes sees it. This indictment, this is crazy, right? I mean, this is a flimsy indictment at best. It's a political indictment based on a claim of fraud when what they're trying to do is just basically go after the president of the United States with a special counsel that's been appointed to give shield and cover to Biden and to Merrick Garland for politicizing the Department of Justice. So all those guys are correct, but all of that is noise. It's all noise because the American people are suffering with a terrible economy, with inflation, with wide open borders, inability to create jobs, massive, impact of the Inflation Reduction Act, killing your ability to get a car. China's kicking our butt. And here we are going in circles. And what are we going to do about it? Have hearings? Have show hearings? When are we going to defund some of these tyrannical bureaucrats who are going after us? When are we going to take the playbox, the sandbox away from Alejandro Mayorkas or from Merrick Garland and actually stick it down their throats? What are Republicans waiting for? That's my question.
Well, you're there. What are they waiting for? And I ask because of this. I saw already there's this big appropriations thing, which obviously you can speak to, coming in September. And of course, you're leading the charge with not enough of our fellow Republicans trying to actually get some things accomplished. And September's right around the corner. And this is a big deal, isn't it, Chip?
It is a big deal. There's a poll that came out that had us +9 over President Biden as congressional Republicans in terms of who the American people trust to actually carry the country forward. Now, the fact is we're +9 because of the speaker's agreement and because we've been fighting and leading. We fought and led and passed H.R. 2, a border security bill. We fought and passed Limit, Save, Grow, which was actually a responsible way to approach the debt limit. We passed the National Defense Authorization Act that actually fixes all the woke garbage. But guess what? The Uniparty always wants to fight back. They want to win. It's like the Empire Strikes Back in Star Wars. And what are they doing? They're back on an NDAA. The Senate just passed a garbage version of the NDAA, and I'm going to fight it. Now all the Uniparty specialists in Washington want to keep funding this radical government come September. I saw a headline 5 minutes ago, and it said, we think Republicans, conservative hardliners in the Freedom Caucus, they want to shut down. This is just nonsense. What we want is to fight for something. Fight for anything. That's my message to Republican leadership. Give me one GD thing you're willing to fight for. One. And I tell you what, we'll go try to climb the hill with you. But instead, don't play all these games with the Uniparty specialists that empower Merrick Garland, now Henry Mayorkas, and Joe Biden to screw not just Trump, but the American people.
So we're going to get screwed again in September, aren't we, Chip?
Well, I'm going to throw everything I've got in front of this train. Rules committee, rules on the floor. I'm going to fight it with everything I've got. I am not going to vote for an appropriations bill. None. I'm not going to vote for a rule in committee. I'm not going to vote for a rule on the floor that funds Alejandro Mayorkas, that funds the Department of Homeland Security, not a continuing resolution, nothing until we pass H.R. 2 signed by Biden into law. Mayorkas is gone and Texas is paid back. Then come back to me and ask for permission to continue. And that would be to deal with the FBI, to deal with the Department of Justice, to deal with the Inflation Reduction Act. But why are we funding this garbage? The founders gave us the power of the purse. So Jesse, you're right to be cynical. We got rolled in Memorial Day on the debt ceiling deal, the $4 trillion deal that has us now with another $1.5 trillion of debt since then. Every Republican who supported it should be ashamed. So now we got to fight in September. But don't give up, y'all. Let's keep the heat up. Republicans are feeling it. Let's head into the appropriation season and try to push them.
Let's hope. All right, let's shift gears here to this Devin Archer thing. Here's a little clip I'm sure you've seen.
I guess I'm pivoting against the lie that I'm hearing people tell with a straight face. Congressman Goldman, for example, that we don't really know what was going on. Really? You're taking a call from the vice president and you put it on speaker. It's not just, hey, Dad, I'm in a meeting with some buddies.
Right.
It's, let me put my dad, the vice president, on speaker.
Yeah. Yep. In the rear view, it's an abuse of soft power, I'd say.
An abuse of soft power. Interesting.
An abuse of soft power. Is anything going to happen with Joe Biden with all this stuff, Chip? Is he going to be impeached? Should he be impeached? What are we doing?
Well, first of all, let's remember that the reason that Merrick Garland and that President Biden, by extension, put in place a special counsel, Jack Smith, was to hide behind him. That's why they did it. They have the adversarial relationship that is needed to take on this case. They didn't need a special counsel unless they wanted to hide behind the special counsel, unless they wanted to, for example, continue to play games with this Hunter Biden plea deal, which was all a sham, all a fraud. We all see it before our eyes. Credit to Jamie Comer, credit to Jim Jordan for highlighting this in committee. That is part of our job, to expose it to the American people. But the rest of our job is to do something about it. Yes, we should pursue impeachment against this administration, make the case, lay it out, and show it to the American people. But don't just give me an impeachment inquiry and then futz around with it and walk away. Either make the case and go impeach the SOB, or get on to the business of the American people that we need to do to, for example, I don't know, secure the border, stop the fentanyl, stop the sex trafficking, stop China, stop inflation, do anything at all to do what we said we would do when we campaigned. So, look, I think we have the path forward in front of us to do what the American people expect us to do and defend the rule of law. But we've got to go make the case and do it. No more, empty rhetoric. We've got to get the job done.
Chip, what's the Pandemic and All Hazards Preparedness Reauthorization Act? Besides being a mouthful, what is this thing?
Well, that's legislation that was put in place a while back that would, I think in response to all of the, poisons that were being sent around and the ability for the American people to have a coordinated response. And the fact is, what it's now demonstrative is that you've got this out of control federal bureaucracy that is using all these tools against our freedom. So I don't know why a Republican House of Representatives is prepared to reauthorize this for 5 years and extend it out with all of the authorities and all the powers without a massive overhaul of our entire government, federal healthcare response apparatus. So I'm calling for Republicans to halt, to review all of this, to go down a list of things I think need to be pursued to make sure we get the reforms in place that are needed before we continue. If we learned anything from COVID, it's that you don't want to have empowered federal bureaucrats being able to go after the American people. So again, why would a Republican Congress just rubber stamp the reauthorization of a piece of legislation, however well-intended it might have been when it was passed, and I could debate that, but however well-intended it was, it has been used and abused, and the entire apparatus has been abused against the American people. Let's stop doing that. But the Uniparty doesn't care. They want a rubber stamp defense, rubber stamp the NIH, rubber stamp spending. I'm here to say no to all that.
Does anybody care about the debt, Chip? Anyone at all care about the debt? Both parties just spend and spend and spend as if this train never stops. But this train's going to stop at some point. It's going to hurt.
You tweeted, I think yesterday or the day before, something along those lines, that you thought it was interesting or, comical, if you will. I mean, I know it's not funny that we're looking at all of this and not recognizing the train that's coming at us. I mean, that's the truth. We're printing money. We are borrowing money. We are destroying the dollar. But more importantly, we're taking that $32 trillion of debt. We are now racking that up to $36 trillion of debt with Republican support. I want to be clear. Republicans supported increasing the debt ceiling completely against all better judgment. And all of that additional money is being used to fund what, Jesse? The very bureaucrats, the very tyrants we campaign against. We campaign against the FBI. We have hearings. We talk about Garland, how horrible they are. We talk about Mayorkas, how bad it is, DHS. But these stupid bastards are going to keep spending money to fund those tyrants. We should stop that. That's what I'm here to try to do.
Thank you, Congressman. Keep going. Appreciate you very much.
Thanks, brother. God bless.
Could use a whole lot more like him. A lot better than the low-T GOPers that he was just describing. It's what they do to us. Think about that. Borrowing on our kids' future to pay for the people who abuse us.